Hello again. Welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to FTB Interactions. Kind of got a small episode today. This isn't really like a full episode. It's not our Monday episode. But I just want to do a kind of a housekeeping episode. So that way I don't have to spend next episode, the start of next episode, going over the stuff that we've added. And doing just a few housekeeping things. So I wanted to just do this kind of as a side episode. So over here you can see our building. And it's just flat on top with slabs I did with Architecture Craft. And I went ahead and did cobblestone slabs in certain spots where the walls were, where it didn't matter. We couldn't see the ceiling. And that way just mobs can't spawn. There's no torches. There's no chance of spiders climbing the wall with zombies and breaking it. So, and I did go ahead and put a little sugarcane patch over here. So if we need to make mass amounts of paper or something like that, we can easily do so once this has grown up a bit. Because, of course, with Apotheosis, these will grow, like, to build height. And so we'll have plenty of sugarcane pretty much any time that we want it. Now, right now, I haven't done the exterior, any kind of detail work or stairs or anything like that. But this is 100% mob-proofed on the inside, so we're safe. Which means we're not going to be dying and having spiders attacking us randomly and stuff. I did end up doing the ceiling out of Rowan. I thought it turned out pretty good, and fairly inexpensive block. Of course, it requires sand, which I can buy with EMC. So, heading on in, I still have a bit of sorting to do. With these chests. This one's empty. I've managed to get that one sorted out, but I've still got a bit of sorting to do. We're going to be doing a proper storage room before too long. Of course, our teleporter, this still goes over to here, just so that I have access, really, to this, which takes us, of course, down into the dungeon. So if we pop back out, all of our trophies over here, I do have a little table here, and I'm thinking, well, this will end up being kind of a trophy room, because it's kind of the center of the main entry floor, and so I think we'll have a trophy room. This will eventually be an elevator, and it may get shifted like to here or something like that whenever I do that. But for right now, just a ladder to the downstairs area. Now, continuing on, I did go ahead and just put all of our bronze machines out here, just piled them up. I have had to take the compressor on occasion to use it because I haven't made the LV compressor as of yet. And then, of course, our armor stand over here. I noticed at the end of last episode, my chest was... my hopper was feeding into this chest. I noticed it whenever I went to run it for the first time, but... and then over here, of course, our Infernal Furnace. Once again, we'll be upgrading this here shortly. I know you guys have seen parts of these. I just kind of wanted to walk back through it. You saw a bit of this, a little tour at the end of last episode, but I have added some new stuff since then. So over here, of course, we have our big super smelter, and this is kind of like early game crafting area type stuff. So we can feed in items and get them smelted. But right here, we have our water-powered saw. And I don't have all the blocks around it. I just have it shoved in this corner. And it works without issue. And I'll show you. You'll know whenever I turn around. But this runs it through, and it just immediately gets picked up, right? What I've got is I use the advanced item collector that we got from a quest. I set the radius X to 10, which is running, long ways here. And then I set the radius Y up and down. It's just as 5 because it doesn't really matter. And the radius Z is a 2, so it only comes out to about right here. Or, right here. Yeah. Just for safety's sake, let me set that up. I had it set lower because at first I didn't have a filter on it, but now I've got a filter. And then I've got an item filter here, which if we take a look, right now I have oak wood blanks, wrought iron, wisdom wood, infused wood, devil dust, and coke oven bricks added to this filter. And I do have check ore dictionary on. And that's so that any type of wood that I run, it doesn't have to be oak, but any type of wood that I run, it's going to get picked up by that filter and just dumped into here. And then over here I have liquid starlight crafting, mana crafting, nacra, in case we need to make nacra orbs. It's there. We'll be doing some other nacra crafts, but they consume the nacra. This is just for stuff that does not consume the liquid. And then I also have fire crafting, which technically we can make wrought iron, you know, a little bit easier, I think, once we upgrade the Infernal Furnace. But in case I do need this, it's here and it's available, and it just automatically picks up the stuff. Because like Devil Dust takes about 30 seconds to craft, wrought iron takes about 30 seconds to craft. I don't like waiting on that stuff, so I can just come in here, throw it down, run off, do my business, come back, you know, 10, 15 minutes whenever I get around to it, and the stuff's crafted. So I will end up upgrading this chest, but that just makes my life a bit easier, in all honesty. This is an empty room for further expansion. This is an empty room for further expansion. Right here, I made a weirding gadget. Now, I was really wanting one of these because we actually have the FTB utilities chunk loading off by default, like off in the server. So it's totally disabled, doesn't work. And I was wanting to chunk load because of my ore processing system, and I had some stuff to do today and everything. And I was like, man, we need an eye of ender. But I noticed basic chemical reactor gives us an eye of ender. So I went ahead and crafted that. We're going to turn the rest of that stuff in during this little kind of housekeeping episode. So I did get a weirding gadget set up, so everything's chunk loaded now. Coming back up, this room's about, you know, pretty well the same. I'll probably add a little table or something there. Enchantment Room, going to be working on that. I wanted to get the sugarcane put in, which I've now got that done. So, and then back in here, this is where a lot of work has gone into. If we take a look on the back side, you can see that our tree beacon and our power tower and our boiler are set up outside. And I did go ahead and I set up a little pressurized fluid tank that we got from a quest. So we do always have 32,000 millibuckets of creosote stored up. So if we need to use it, we do have that available, because I know there is some things that we can craft. Now later on, we're going to have to actually siphon from that, or set up another like little coke oven or something just to create creosote for our uses, because I know we do end up using it a little bit. But I went ahead and just set those up outside. They're facing in this direction because I wanted to siphon the stuff into this room here. So you can see that the steam from the boiler is coming out right there and running across, and then the items from these are the tiny item outputs from the coal coke and charcoal that are coming out here. And you'll notice the steam shoots across the room. There is a steel drum here. This is in case I need some steam. It's not pulling from this, it's just storing it here, and in case I need it to jumpstart something, or if I need, you know, if something breaks, at least I've got a little bit of steam. This actually saved my life when I was moving things, because I was moving stuff over from the other base and moving it over to here, and I didn't have, I don't remember what it was like some plates or something that I need to craft, and I didn't have the stuff, and I was like, man, I don't have the things I need, but I still had that steam, so I just used that to kind of jumpstart, make the things I needed to finish setting up. So over on this side, here's the basic chemical reactor. It's not plugged up. I just made it literally just to get an eye of ender so I can make a weirding gadget. That's the only reason that I crafted that. And then over here we do have, of course, our ores and things. You will notice that I went farming for some lapis. I didn't get a whole lot of it. I just got enough really for my needs at the time. And we have lots of metals. We've got tin, we got iron, we got copper, plenty. And up here is kind of our Greg Tech, you know, junk and our tools. But over here, this is the moved and updated ore processing system. So basically, I input items here. So you can see I'm running 10 right now. And it runs down into here. And basically, the input extracts on the brown channel. And if we take a look over here, the brown channel inserts directly into a macerator. And it's gonna crush it down. That macerator then extracts on the red channel, and you'll notice that there's 2 chests here. There was originally 3 chests, but I had to remove it because I forgot something very important. But this red channel inserts into these 2 chests, which act as a buffer. I do have priorities, so this is priority 3, this is priority 2. So this chest is going to get items, you know, before this chest does, just so I can kind of keep everything sort of consolidated. And then these extract on the green channel, both of them. Now, when they get extracted, for like the ore washing plant, I have a filter here that's filtering like brown limonite, tin, copper, yellow limonite. And something worth noting, I know I've mentioned this in other series, but if you want to, let's say I wanted to add crushed gold ore. You know, I haven't ran any gold through this, and I want to crush some gold. So what I can do is I can just grab that, drag it over, click it in, and that way I don't have to wait for this to run one of each item. You know, I can just set the filter whenever I need it. Now, there's only 10 slots. I went ahead and did advanced item filters. Basically, I was waiting until we had more resources. We were running a little bit short on iron at the end of last episode, and I didn't want to waste iron by running it through the crusher, the squeezer anymore. So now we've got plenty of iron to make filters. I went ahead and made those, and then just a little bit of redstone, you can upgrade them into these advanced filters. So using that, I may have to remove things. This isn't our end-all be-all system or anything like that. So long term, I may have to remove some items from this and make adjustments, but I can easily do that, and I can just drag and drop to change things out. So, and then after the ore washing plant, it goes, of course, over to, well, it gets extracted back to these chests, which then send it over to the macerator, which is going to take the purified versions. I'm going to go ahead and add gold because I'm going to be mining for gold here soon, I think, just because I'm running low on it. But then it gets macerated, and then it gets pulled out, sent back into these chests, and then pulled out again. And this is actually where I forgot. For some reason, I had a total derp. I was like, man, I don't have access to the thermal centrifuge until MV. But you know what? We have the basic centrifuge. Like, for example, purified gold. You can run this through the centrifuge and get your tiny pile of nickel. So, whereas if you ran it through the thermal centrifuge, you'd get the centrifuged gold ore, which can then be pulverized. So basically it's just a change of order, but this works for LV. Long term, what we would do is we would go macerator, washer, thermal centrifuge, macerator, electric furnace, I think. But it doesn't really matter. The centrifuge, we're still going to get a ton of output added, and we can do that in LV, so it's a bit cheaper. And so that gets sent over to this. I'm going to go ahead and add gold to that. It gets sent over to here, centrifuged, and then pulled out, sent back to these chests again, which then pull out and insert over to here. This is where we take kind of the finished things, and we smelt them. And then the smelter, you'll notice it pulls out on the black channel. Black channel feeds down to these 3 chests with descending priority, so 2, 1, 0. And so the finished products get sent over to here. And you can see I got a lot more metals. I ran to the store earlier for a bit. That's one reason I wanted to get chunk loaders. Ran to the store for a bit, came back, and it had ran about 1,000 ingots while I was gone. So not super fast, but as a passive system that's just running, it's very, very, it's very, very good. We're going to have plenty of materials coming in from this, and it's pretty well mostly all hands off. I do have to, whenever I'm running things like limonite, I have to take the ingots, I have to compress them. Not a big deal. Then stuff like this, the tiny piles of iron and things, I have to grab this stuff out, and, you know, I hit U, shift click, there we go, it's that easy. And then just dump it back in there, and it's going to get, you know, it'll get pulled out and go smelt. So not too bad. And you will notice we're getting zinc. So I'm really excited about that because zinc dust, we can make brass without having to do the Thermocraft method now. So we're getting a substantial amount of zinc. Later on, I think we can mine this in the nether, if I recall. I think zinc ore is a nether thing, though. Yeah, zinc at last, quote unquote. But we've got lots of zinc just running it through that centrifuge. So centrifuge is a little bit more costly, I guess, but only because it takes 4 circuits, 2 motors, but overall fairly cheap. And then over here, this is all set up identical to how we had it. So we do have a trash can. It's actually underneath the floor down there. And you will notice an absolute ton of zombies. You probably see them there on the map. But if you take a look, it's insanity down here. And then Pecks are wanting to like steal items. And it's a madhouse down there. And I'll show you why here in just a minute, but it's all set up exactly the same. We do have a trash can down there. We have the aqueous accumulator, which is feeding over the water also to the basic ore washing plant. So you can see the cables running up here from that right down there. So we got all our materials coming in. I don't have great wood set up just yet. I know I'm slacking. I've got to bring out the dirt, and I got to put a fence around it and stuff is the only reason I haven't done it yet. And those zombies are piling up, so I didn't want to mess with them right now. Another small thing that I added is sticky resin is getting extracted from this pipe, going to a drying rack, getting pulled down to a clay kiln, and coming out as finished plastic. And we're going to get up to 64 stacks of that and just keep it on hand, because otherwise I'm going to be wasting sticky resin, you know, because we're getting a lot of it. Something interesting that I have noticed is I don't know if this is like really good spot for starlight or something, but I have noticed the tree beacon runs extremely fast compared to where we had it before. And also having it chunk loaded helps, but it does seem to run quicker from what I've noticed personally. So that was a good little discovery there. And I think that's pretty much this room. Now, one thing I do want to do, I want to get rid of our tin cables entirely, and I want to move to blue steel wire, or blue steel cables. Let me see if my... I'm running low on string. I'm waiting to get fertile soil. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do insulated. You don't really have to, because blue steel wire is 0 loss per block, and if you insulate it, it's still 0 loss per block. But I got to looking, and that was very affordable for us, so I was like, well, you know what? We're going to go ahead and push for blue steel. Oh, there's actually a quest for it. I didn't even notice. And we do have a couple quests in here I do want to turn in. Oh, right here. And we get 8 blue steel cable. Okay. Then there's mana steel. Yeah, that's our MV lossless version. Also, all the titles are gone. This is where I got the Eye of Ender. We got a programmed circuit, and we get 2 additional basic chemical reactors. I want to go ahead and turn that in. And then that's that quest that's all bugged on us. LV Chemistry, for getting the basic chemical reactor, we get another programmed circuit. And then down here, oh, they give us a storage key for the barrel now. There's been an update, so there's been a couple of rewards that were added, so we do get that. Of course, we already have one, but a second one will never hurt anything. And then over here for the bachelor's button, we do get 4 additional lapis for finishing out that quest. So I want to go ahead and just turn those in real quick. And now with our blue steel cable in hand, we can go ahead and change all this over. And there's a couple benefits to changing over to the blue steel cable. First up, it is lossless. So we could run this clear across the base, and we're not going to lose any power from running it. Because like with the tin cable, it's not too bad, but we do have 1 loss per block. So we're going to lose 1 EU per block that it moves. Whereas with the blue steel cable, we could just move it all over the base without any issues. Another added benefit to it is the blue steel wire and blue steel cable has an amperage of 4. Tin cable, wherever it be. Did I lose it? Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. The tin cable only has an amperage of 1. So basically, tin cable can really only accept power from 1 basic steam turbine and move it through. Otherwise, you know, if it's connected to this one, it can't get packets of power from this turbine, and this turbine. Whereas the blue steel, we could have 4 turbines over here, and it could accept power and move and use that power from all 4 at the same time. Now, of course, one option with the tin cable is turning it into 2 times, and then turning it into 4 times. So now we've got the same amperage as blue steel. Still have the 1 loss per block, but now we have the same amperage. But it's a whole lot more expensive to do it that way. And blue steel isn't very expensive. If you take a look here, you can just make it in the alloy smelter. You can either do it with 2 steel and 1 lazurite, or 4 steel and 1 lapis. I went with the lapis. It's less dust overall. Not to mention the lapis dust, you can just drop lapis ore into a squeezer and get 3 dust out of it, you know. So yeah, that's now converted over. I'm going to get a little bit more of that insulated cable and probably just fill out this whole area so we could have a whole wall of machines. Maybe add one more turbine. Could even go as far as to add, well, I guess if we wanted to be crazy, 2 times is going to give us an amperage of 8. So we could have 8 turbines with just 2 times wire, which would be kind of nice. But so anyways, that's this room. Just wanted to show you that. Also, I've noticed something with all those mobs hoarding up around underneath the... I actually have found myself loving it because they all hoard up underneath there and they end up dying. And I've got... It's not a super fast one. I mean, this has been a little while of this running. But I am getting passive items. I do have some bones, which I'm going to use to make more fertile soil. So I am getting some passive stuff. This is from me killing a mob, but you can see I'm getting some healing things, you know, from this as well. It's actually kind of an added little benefit there. So if we pop downstairs, this area, of course, it's not finished. It hasn't really been built out yet. Still very much a work in progress. Now that I've got some more bones for fertile soil, I'm going to be adding more cotton because I'm always low on cotton right now. But you can see I did shift these around so they're facing in the correct direction. Over here, this is our honey system, basically just kind of spread out. So the apiary feeds down to the drying rack, which feeds over to here. And once I fill out this, I do have a preservation upgrade in this fridge. And once I fill this out, I'm going to have it auto feed down into this fridge so that it keeps this slot of honey stocked all the time. Because I don't want to have to manually stock that. But anyways, I've been filling these out, and I went ahead and got our tool racks up. I need to make the rest of the tools. I just haven't got around to it. This here is for making salt. We've got our well from Pam's. We got our wooden basin for making dough. You know, throwing that flour and salt in there. Another basic work table. This one is actually... I broke the hammer, but this one's for making tofu stuff. And then over here, making cheese. Which I've noticed, like, even though you can't milk the cows just non-stop like normal, if you milk the cow, throw the milk in, you give it a few stirs, make your cheese, about that time, a lot of times, you can milk the cow again. So it's actually super fast and allows for really quick crafting of cheese over here. And then over on this side, of course, is just, I'm starting to fill this out with one of, you know, all different kinds of crops. So we kind of have them here, and then later on, once we have auto harvesting, we'll kind of have a slow, passive intake of all the different crops in the game without needing specialized farms. Now, certain things like canola is over here. Eventually, we're going to have a dedicated canola farm, but this is basically if I want to fill the fridges with it, I can do that. And then I'm starting to run leaves. I'm going to get some more oak leaves, but I'm going to put our tree nodes from Pam's up here and just kind of fill this place out with just fruit hanging all over the place that's available to us. Over here is our rustic area, so we are fully in business. I've got honeycombs there, and then I'm stockpiling up rustic herbs, and I've got to finish filling this out. By the way, with fertile soil, you don't technically have to have water, of course, but I'm going to put sprinklers on top of these, so that's why I've got water spots in the center of the fields. To be honest, though, the rustic area, I'm probably not going to. I don't need that many rustic herbs, truth be told. And then this over here is going to be a dedicated field, so we're going to have cotton, we're going to have candleberries. That's our torches. We're going to have a bit more cotton. We're going to have lotus over here. So I really just want like a variety of crops that I use a lot of and that I need quite a bit of. I want those planted in this area, and just kind of a dedicated little field. Now, going on over, of course, there's our sheep. Nothing special. I did summon, when I went to summon my cow, I was like, you know what, it's time we go ahead and get us villager. Made an apple, fed it to him, healed him, and so we do have a lost soul over here that's producing emeralds for us. And then, of course, these we can just take and craft them down into emeralds. We'll add some auto crafting for that later. But just kind of a passive source of emeralds. By the way, I don't know if I showed you this last time. it was here, so you may have noticed it. But our little, our world's best Thaumcrafter trophy, yep, it's going in the sheep pen. That's where it's hanging out. And then over here we do have our chickens. So we've got basically our 16 of each kind of chicken producing items. These barrels filled up crazy fast. And then we have our, I have an extra of each chicken and some seeds in this chest. And then our breeding area over here. So originally I was thinking about having a little system that pulls the porcelain out and auto smelts it so that we've got, you know, a barrel filled up with porcelain bricks. But since I'm not building with porcelain, I didn't really see any purpose of doing that. If a purpose comes up, we will do it, but I was just like, I just don't see a point. I really don't. So I didn't bother with it. And then, of course, our ground traps are down here. I've been running these a bit. The only thing I haven't really set up yet is our strainers. Oh, and by the way, before I forget, the Weirding gadget, it loads a 5x5 area of chunks. And what's really nice, I think I mentioned this, I have planned all this. You can see that all this base, it fits into a 3x2. And we've got some space behind it, making it a 3x3. And then I figured, well, I can just have, you know, this whole little area here is our 5x5 that we cover with our loading. And there we go. We've got kind of a compact 5x5 base that I think will be able, whenever we start building vertically, I think it's going to be able to house most, if not all of our stuff within this one 5x5. So we're actually going kind of compact, but I think it'll work out really, really well for us. Okay, I wanted to pop you guys back in. I just finished a bit of a mining spree, and I hit up well, I was really there for an iron vein, but there was a nickel vein right next to it. So I went ahead and hit that up also a bit, as well as gathered up some rock crystal. So we do have a bit more of that also. But I wanted to pop you guys in. Originally I had ended it a bit earlier, but I wanted to show you. I did go ahead and set up 3 barrels over here just to store our copper, our tin, and our iron, because it was getting a bit excessive, the amount of space that I was having to use to store those. I was getting a lot of them coming in. Still building up a lot of zinc, like a lot of zinc. I've got a few stacks there. I've got a few more stacks over in here, and I'm running a bunch of tin. Because why not? Why not at this point? So I wanted to show you that, but also downstairs, I wanted to show you that I did go ahead and make sprinklers, and to make these, I did complete one quest. To make these, they do require an electric pump, and crafting this, there's a quest and it gives us 4 electric pumps, so I did go ahead and turn those in. Made one and then just accepted the others. And I went ahead and dropped a sprinkler on the herbs. I wasn't originally planning on it, but I figured, well, why not? So we do have 4 sprinklers on our gardens now. And then over here, I did set up our strainers, just 2 of them. We actually had a server crash the other day, and I think I was holding my strainers whenever it happened. And basically we had to revert inventories. We didn't have to revert the whole world, but we had to revert inventories. So basically our inventories got reset a few hours back. And I think I lost the strainers. I'm not that worried about it. They're not that expensive to craft. But I just went ahead and made 2. One for the fisherman strainer, one for dense strainers, because those are really the only 2 I care to run. And basically what I've got here is I've got a chest, and there underneath it is a hopper that's feeding over to the strainer. And that keeps, this one feeds the dense strainers. Strainer bases, or the strainer nets. It feeds them into that one. This one feeds bait pots over to this. So I can just stockpile these, let them run, and then underneath these strainers are hoppers. It doesn't work with item conduits. It has to be a hopper. Basically a hopper that feeds over, like if we pop down here, you can kind of see the layout there. And then over here, you could see a hopper pulling out to a chest, and then what I'm doing is just item conduits. Actually, fill this all back in. Item conduits, they're pulling that up and out into this iron chest. So the stuff is getting sent over. I could make it a bit more automatic by having the worms auto-fed in there, but I'm not that worried about it, in all honesty. So we are getting a bit of passive clay now, as well. I will probably end up automating these, but I just haven't yet. Maybe at a later time, but I'm not that worried about it right now. So, and really the only reason I've been running them a lot is for bones, and I'm just about done with my current bone needs, truth be told. So, and I don't know if I pointed this out, we do have a tetrahedrite stibnite copper vein that's like attached right here. So I will end up mining that all out. But anyways, I just wanted to give you guys a quick update. With that, we are going to end out this episode here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's something a little bit different, just a short little update. That way I don't have to spend because I've been doing a lot, you know, between cuts, basically just moving things and setting up some small little automations just to make our lives a bit easier. So I kind of want to just cover them and not have to spend the beginning of next episode covering that, so we can get right into the other stuff that we're going to be working on. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay updated with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe. I'll see you guys then.